Sing, everybody.
Oh, because I'm a tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway.
Every time the song comes on the radio station, I got to sing along with it at work. So it's Tiny Dancer by Elton John. I figured it'd be a good start to this episode of Dylan Knows, episode 315. The last one of September 2019. It is September 28th, 2019. And I got one viewer. Hello there. Oh, I have 0 viewers. They must not have been liking what they saw. Ah, damn, he's going to sing, isn't he? Or we want him to sing more. I don't know. But this is Dylan Knows. It is Virus Video and Heavy Metal Playground. Now, both of those would have been a good episode name by myself. But then I was like, I don't know which one I want. I like them both, and I really can't use one now and one later because they both have meaning for this week. Virus Video because I start off this week as being gravely ill. You might have heard it a little bit on last Saturday when I did the show, but I woke up Sunday morning absolutely horrendous. My nose was stuffed up. My head was stuffed up. I was starting to cough. And then as the day progressed, I got worse. And then Sunday night into Monday, I could not sleep at all. It was just coughing and headache and all kinds of aches all over the place. Took some drugs. Didn't really help much. So I called out of work that day and stayed home and got some more drugs and rested and watched movies and stuff like that. And then I really wasn't feeling much better. Then I decided, then Monday night, it was more the same. I slept a little bit better that night. But then Tuesday, I woke up. I was like, I think I need one more day because I still wasn't 100%. So I took one more day. And then Tuesday night and Wednesday, I felt better. So I had to get up on Wednesday to go to work. And I was feeling better. Still not great, but I was feeling better. And then Thursday I got better. And then Friday was fantastic. But now I feel like I'm relapsing again. I hope I'm not because my head is killing me right now. And I've been coughing a little bit more than I have been. But, here's hoping that it's nothing. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on because there's a lot of people who are undergoing this problem right now. And the other one is Heavy Metal Playground is a story I'm going to be doing. Episode 315. So we got Heavy Metal Playground coming up. We got the Virus Video story. We've got the final epilogue to the Area 51 stuff. We've got the Free the Nipple movement. We've got one of the funniest, I'm not going to show it to you, but I'll explain it to you. One of the funniest videos I ever saw this week coming up. Big news about Spider-Man and the MCU, which you've probably heard by now. We're going to be doing a lot of trailers. There's a bunch of good trailers came out this week. We do a little bit of discussion about Tom Brady and the Patriots. We're going to be talking about people tripping on acid. 2 new conspiracy theories, which I'm dying to tell you about, and I think they're hilarious, and they're really, really good and interesting as well. Some interesting news about Jurassic World 3. Samuel L. Jackson's making a new move. A couple of Florida stuff going on, believe it or not. A weird thing a Missouri guy did. Delaware's in the news this week as well. It's September 28th, and there's snow in the stories as well. Got 2 big snow stories. And anything else on this last page that would be cool? Shape-shifting jellyfish, butterbeer hair, both of which would be good titles for the show. Grizzly bear boxing match watched by a wolf. And finally, I Know What You Did Last Summer is coming to TV. Not with SMG. Oh, we. All right, 3:15. Let's get busy. Let's get a little swig of juice here. Real quick, tomorrow's an interesting day. It's the 29th of September. It is the 19th anniversary of my first date with my wife. So I know my wife for 19 years, and that is absolutely insane. And I'm glad I've known her for 19 years. It's just, it doesn't, and honestly, I'm not lying about this. It doesn't seem like I've known her for 19 years. It seems like I'm it's hard to describe. She's like, either I've known her my whole life or I just got to know her. I don't know. So it's just one of those things, but it's cool. So our wedding anniversary is going to be next weekend. Now, next weekend should be fine. As I told you all before, I am taking off October 4th, which is Friday, which is my anniversary. I'm going to surprise her at work. because she doesn't watch the show. She doesn't know that I'm doing this. 5th and 6th, we don't really have much going on, so I'll probably still be able to do the show. When you get to the point where we're going to be celebrating our 16th wedding anniversary, which the wedding gift is silver hollow something silver. It's just like, what the hell is this? It's like you have to get like vases or mugs or stuff made out of silver as the wedding present for that. It's kind of stupid. I've already spent $500 on her anniversary present. We're going to go see Wicked on February 15th. I know the day after Valentine's Day, but it was the only time we had free. So we're going to go see Wicked at the Hippodrome on February 15th of next year, which is kind of funny because that's the year that it's the time that it always seems that it snows in Baltimore. We always seem to get a big storm either on President's Weekend or Valentine's Weekend. So I'm hoping it's the next weekend. And then normally would have gotten a hotel room and then dinner and stuff like that. But then it dawned on me as like, it's going to be Valentine's Day weekend because Valentine's Day is on Friday. So everybody's going to celebrate on the 15th. So the hotel rooms know this also, so they're going to be raising their prices exorbitantly to get a hotel room. And then the restaurants will probably be doing special Valentine's Day meals. So those places will be both packed. So we're going to do something else, which I haven't told her what I'm going to do yet. I have to do my research. I'm not going to tell you here, though. So you just have to wait till I figure out what I'm going to do. I mean, I know what I'm going to do, but when I actually get the idea down, that's going to be sometime in the spring. So I got that going on. So let's get busy. So this is all stuff, the news from this week. So this is all news that is from last Saturday after I did my show to today. So a lot of the stuff you might hear at the beginning is going to be the older stuff as I work my way back to the newer stuff. So it's actually, that's kind of a misnomer. This is the older stuff. And then about halfway through, we get to the newer stuff, and then we go backwards again to the older stuff. So that's just the way I do my my research. So yeah, research. So here we go, Tiny Dancer. U.S. military apologizes for threatening Area 51 people with folks with an attack by a stealth bomber. So the epilogue to, I talked about Area 51 last week. It didn't turn out to be, Storm Area 51 didn't turn out to be anything. One person actually made it onto the property of Area 51. It was a 60-year-old woman. There was a video showing a reporter talking about the Area 51 thing and someone doing the Naruto run behind them. There was a dude who was getting the people together, had a plunger to attack, I guess, but they didn't go anywhere. And there was more of like a big tailgate party in the desert that just happened to be on the outskirts of Area 51. Now, the day of the Area 51 storming, or the day before, whatever, the U.S. Army or the military, whatever, posted on their Twitter page a picture of the stealth bomber saying something along the lines, if we see any of you guys entering our territory, we will not hesitate to use this. So they're apologizing now, like, maybe we shouldn't have said that. So that's yeah, you probably shouldn't have. But you know what? It's over and done with. Doesn't matter. We don't have to talk about Area 51 anymore, even though I still want to get the T-shirt that says the Area 51 5K. They can't stop us all type of thing. And I thought it was an interesting idea, but it was still very dangerous also. So, as I mentioned earlier in the show, because I'm 9 minutes in now and I just keep blah, blah, blahing. This episode is co-titled Virus Video, which is discussion about my sickness, which I already talked about, and then we'll talk about a little bit later next. And then Heavy Metal Playground. This is an actual event. This is local news. There is a place somewhere in Maryland, I'm not exactly sure where it is, where you can get into a bulldozer or crane or whatever, and you can crush things. And it's called the Heavy Metal Playground. I'm not exactly sure where it is. So if you've always wanted to maybe crush a giant metal block or a car or run something over flat to the ground, they'll teach you how to run the stuff, and you can run stuff over. I think you can also maybe grab like sledgehammers and stuff and smash things as well if you don't want to drive on the big machinery and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things you can do, but it's the Heavy Metal Playground. I'm not exactly sure where it's located in Maryland. Let me see if I can look it up on Twitter, not Twitter, on Google here real quick. See if that even shows up. Heavy Metal Playground. There is Heavy Metal Playground. is in Washington County, Maryland. So it's in Boonesboro, which is like this. Washington County is like south, I think. I'm clicking on the map here. Yeah, it's near Hagerstown. It's actually west. So it's actually west. So it's further west than it is south. So there you have it. If you want to head out towards Hagerstown, Maryland, you'll be able to find the heavy metal playground. It's currently closed right now, so you can't go now. Well, it's also almost 10 o'clock at night, so yummy. So we got that. I figured since, may as well just go all in. As I talked about, I got sick. I got my wife sick, which is understandable. So she's not feeling good right now. So she's got the sickness. But I discovered when I woke up on Sunday and I wasn't feeling good, I had pretty much decided that day, I think, that I wasn't going to go to work on Monday because I didn't want to get anybody else sick, because I don't know, you know how it is when you go to a job or whatever and one person comes in, they either don't have sick time or they think that it's a weakness not to take a day off to relax. So they come in sick and they end up passing their sickness on to everybody else in work, and they pass it on to everybody else so that everybody gets sick eventually. Well, I learned when I came back on Wednesday that on Monday there were 5 people out, 3 people on Tuesday when I was out. That includes me as well. And then during the rest of the week, there was someone else who was out for 2 more days because they were feeling sick. Another guy seemed to have got sick. He came into work for a few days, but then he had to take Friday off because he wasn't feeling good. So everybody was getting sick. So, and then there's some other people I've been hearing about who've been going through this stuff as well. So it leads me to believe that I'm wondering if the flu is here early, because usually flu doesn't hit till later in the year. And I'm just wondering, maybe it's decided, hey, we're going to hit early this year. Maybe this is an early one, because I usually don't get this sick till closer to December. It's just the way it always seems to work out. It seems right around Christmas, seems like I get hit with some sort of flu-like symptoms or whatever. So I'm wondering if there's going to be an early indication of that, and maybe I won't get it in December now, which is good. So it seems to me that there seems to be some sort of early flu out there. A lot of people getting sick, not just in my area, but people I've seen on Facebook and Twitter complaining about pretty much the same things that I had as well. And so just be careful out there. I guess get your flu shot. I'm not one to, I don't really like getting the flu shots, and honestly, I really don't know if they really work, because the few times that I have gotten flu shots, I still got the flu. So I don't know if that's just me or or what. So that's just me. So that's how this episode was titled, and there we go. Free the nipple movement. Women can now legally go topless in 6 states: Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, New Mexico, Kansas, and Oklahoma. So more out west and south a little bit. So I guess, it seems kind of odd though, because Wyoming and Colorado and Utah can all be kind of chilly with the mountains and the storms and stuff like that. Obviously, New Mexico is going to be warm. Kansas and Oklahoma can be warm also, and Kansas sort of right there in the middle. It's another one that's like, really? And plus, Kansas and Oklahoma have always seemed to be very stringent religiously, stuff like that, and any possibility that, oh goodness, we're going to see breasts or nipples makes them blow their freaking minds. Seems odd that you can legally do that in those states, but Colorado, you can really do anything in, so that doesn't make much sense. That makes plenty of sense to me. But Wyoming's a weird one, because you don't really hear a lot about stuff happening in Wyoming. It's got the national parks and stuff, but really, it's more of a touristy type of place. And I guess there's a joke that that Steve Martin does in Roxanne, where he say here's where people ski topless while high on drugs and stuff like that. So I guess, if it's you want to go skiing and you want to feel everything, I guess, now you can go skiing topless now. So I wish the free the nipple movement would move further east. Just saying. Some sad news. Aaron Eisenberg, which is somebody that probably most people have never would have heard of before. But those of us who are fans of the Star Trek series of TV shows, we would know who Aaron Eisenberg is. He played Nog, a Ferengi, who became the first Ferengi to be accepted to Starfleet. Passed away this week. Deep Space Nine, in my opinion, is probably the best Star Trek show out there. Now, the original, of course, is always going to, but that's not saying a lot, because the original is always going to be, the original, and it's always going to be the one that set the table for everybody and set all this up to happen. And Next Generation was fantastic as well. Don't get me wrong, it was great as well. Voyager had its moments as well, and I know a lot of people who liked Enterprise. And then this new Star Trek series that's on CBS Online, people like that as well. But Deep Space Nine, to me, after their rough first couple seasons, once they got a full-on, story arc going on, starting with the third season and going all the way up to the seventh season, and even the introduction of Worf, which is kind of it was an interesting ploy to do, but it actually helped out in the end and added some other things as well. It turned Deep Space Nine into more of a political war sort of drama, not your typical Star Trek show where they go out and about and have an adventure with new aliens and new frontiers and stuff like that. This was an ongoing storyline that went for 4 years and cleared itself out. And it didn't always go properly. I think in the end, I think really the good guys end up losing anyway. If you think about it, if you want to look at it from a certain point of view. They still won major big things, but they had a majority of losses and stuff like that. But it's still one of the most underrated TV shows, I think, of all time. And it unfortunately was on at the same time as Deep Space Nine. As Next Generation, which got more of the people to come watch that because it was the more popular one. I mean, it was your typical Star Trek series, and it had a new cast that people really, really enjoyed, and it was entertaining. And it was. Deep Space Nine, for a lot of people, it just wasn't as entertaining because there would just be a lot of episodes that dealt with political maneuverings and stuff like that, and not really a lot of space battles. Now, they did introduce a spaceship so they could go out and do some stuff, and they used that a little bit, but they still kept to their roots, sticking at the space station and engaging in this war that they had with a civilization from another dimension, or another universe, I should say, or quadrant, I should say. So very good. But rest in peace, Aaron Eisenberg. Nog was a really good character. And when he passed away, I think it was on Sunday, someone actually posted one of the best bits he ever did from Avery Brooks, who played Captain Sisko. And Avery Brooks is a fantastic actor. And for this young lad, Aaron Eisenberg, to be able to go toe-to-toe with someone like Avery Brooks in this sequence and a lot of other stuff. I mean, his character arc was phenomenal. And a completely different take on the Ferengi, which I really, really liked as well. And it just showed that, they cast well, and that, anyone could go toe-to-toe with great actors as long as they concentrate and do really, really well. So rest in peace, Aaron. You will be missed. So going from something sad to something fun, actually, funny, I should say. It doesn't start off funny, but it actually gets funnier. So this is a video I got, not that I got, but that someone posted. I believe it was also Sunday as well. Maybe been Monday too. I think it was Sunday though. It was a woman, Asian woman, walking down the road, and a guy in a motorcycle, slowly pulls up behind her, parks his motorcycle, runs over to her, and grabs her purse. So it's like, oh, geez, he's going to try to rob her. So the woman takes the purse off her shoulder, or starts beating on the guy trying to steal her purse, then pushes the guy back, grabs her purse, and flings it down the road. So the burglar, the purse snatcher, I should say, runs after the purse. The woman, seeing that, sees the motorcycle, jumps on the motorcycle, and steals the motorcycle as the criminal runs behind her. So it's a funny video. If you can find it, I laughed my butt off. I thought it was hilarious. And I don't think it was faked or anything like that. It looks real to me. So because it looked like it was shot from like a speed camera type of thing as well. So, interesting about that. I didn't really go into much detail with this story, but I like the headline. I'm just going to leave it at that. Something in the universe is killing off entire galaxies. And I don't know if that's something to ponder it's something to ponder, but it's kind of scary to think about, is that nobody knows what this item is, this thing, whatever it is, that's destroying entire galaxies. So you can get your sci-fi glasses on and your sci-fi brains thinking about what it could possibly be. So they're keeping an eye on that kind of stuff, and we'll see what's going on with that coming up. Last week I talked about sexy Mr. Rogers costumes and went off on a tangent about sexy Halloween costumes in general. So happenstance happened to be that Sunday also, I believe, looking through Facebook after going on that rant the day before, I discovered a story about sexy Ronald McDonald costumes. So it's a sexy Ronald McDonald costume. So it's a tight-fitting Ronald McDonald jumper that emphasizes the breasts and the booty and stuff like that. And it's a low cut, so you get the cleavage area. But they also have the red wig and the Ronald McDonald's face. So there's a sexy Ronald McDonald costume out there. Now, I came across a story today, so I added near the end here, but since it's a good connection with what I just did, Taco Bell is selling Halloween costumes. Now, I don't know if that means if you go to a Taco Bell, you can see the Halloween costumes there and you can buy them there, because I don't go into Taco Bell. I don't know. Or if they are selling these costumes through like a Party City or something like that, or you go online to tacobell.com and buy them there. But they were like condiment costumes and a taco costume and with a Taco Bell logo on it and a Taco Bell cup and stuff like that. So Taco Bell jumping on the Halloween bandwagon and creating costumes, which actually, to be honest, is actually a really smart idea because it's free advertising. Basically, it could be like it could be a condiment of hot sauce, but it would say on it in big letters, Taco Bell hot sauce. So you would see that's from Taco Bell. So you'd be walking around the neighborhood trying to get candy. People say, "What are you?" And you could say, "I'm a Taco Bell condiment or hot sauce." So Taco Bell, go to Taco Bell. Taco Bell, go to Taco Bell. It's a means of marketing that doesn't cost them anything, because people are buying the costumes so they can wear them to Halloween parties and stuff like that. So good on you, Taco Bell. Good on you. Sad story. A female skydiver was killed by a big rig and a car when she accidentally landed on the freeway. So she was a skydiver and she had her parachute out and everything. But when you're doing these things, a gust of wind could come along, could push you off course where you need to go. This one was pushed off course, landed in the middle of a busy highway, smacked by a big rig, and hit by a car, which is awful. And another reason why I'm never going to go skydiving. So I just heard water running. It's like, okay, my wife is going to bed early, but she's sick, and it could be my daughter finishing up my daughter likes to stall by, going to the bathroom, sit in the bathroom for a while and reading, and then going to bed. And we can't say, hurry up, because you're in the bathroom. That's sad. So I'm sorry to hear that, but that's one of the reasons why you got to be careful where you're skydiving and make sure that your potential landing spot isn't anywhere near like highways or even lakes and rivers and stuff like that, because even though you're in these jumpsuits, stuff like that, you hit that water, you still could get sucked down underground because of the parachute will get wet and it'll weigh you down. It'll pull you right down. So those skydiving, try to find an area, the landing area in a huge, there's nothing but like flat land for miles, not just a small window, but miles, in case the wind does blow you off course, so that, it's not as bad for you. Big news, the biggest news of the week this week. We mentioned a few weeks ago that Disney and Sony broke up their partnership with Spider-Man. And I think the reason why, because it came up again, and Disney was asking for more money, and Sony didn't want to. They figured they had a hit with Venom, that they could get Spider-Man back, and they could have as big of a hit with Spider-Man, if not, since they did well with Venom, without the backing of Disney, and they could keep all the profit. However, they've had their chances before, and the MCU is what really brought him his first billion-dollar movie and stuff like that, because he was part of the MCU. So everybody was kind of sad and disappointed about that, and hoping they would get back on into the drawing table. Well, apparently they did, because I think it was like yesterday, maybe it might have been yesterday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday nights when it happened, and Fridays when the news dropped. Sony and Disney got together and they hammered out a new contract. It's not 100% great, but it's something, because for those who saw Spider-Man Far From Home, it sort of ends on a cliffhanger. And people were afraid that we'd never find out what would happen because of that. So the new deal now that Sony and Marvel have hammered out is Spider-Man can come back to the MCU for 2 more movies. One, a Spider-Man movie to finish up the Far From Home, the Far trilogy, whatever you want to call it. And then another MCU movie. So he could appear in an Avengers movie, or Doctor Strange, or Thor, or one of the other movies that's lined up soon to come out, to show up one more time. More than likely, it's probably going to be Doctor Strange, because of his plot line is going to do with the multiverses and stuff like that, from what we gathered from the title of it that we've gotten. So that being said, Spider-Man is also, I think Sony is also saying that he can now appear in Venom 2 as well as Tom Holland. So Tom Holland should be showing up in Venom 2 in some form or another. Probably not as a main character, probably, but it could be. I don't know. And then there's one other story in here about that I discovered that was from today. But basically now, there it is. Now, with that news coming through about him only being in 2 more MCU movies, Kevin Feige, who's the guy who created the Marvel MCU, is actually writing the movie that's going to write Spider-Man out of the MCU, or that's the rumor right now, is that he's writing the script that will get him out of the MCU, so that he'll finish his tenure in the MCU, and then it'll take him to wherever he's going to go, the Sony universe or whatever, to get him away from whatever the issue is. So we'll see what happens. That can still change, obviously, but right now that's the deal. And from what I saw, also, I thought the numbers looked like that Disney would get 25% of the gross of the box office of the 2 movies that Spider-Man would show up in, and Sony would get the rest of it, and Disney would get the merchandising money, which is actually a lot if you think about it. So, in the end, kind of works itself out a little bit. More local news. This is kind of sad. Hunt Valley Town Center is near where my dad lives, near where my wife works, and I go there a lot because they have a Yankee Candle, which I love, and it's a good place for Pokemon Go hunting. They also have a Wegmans, and they used to have a great store called Greens and Readings, which is no longer there. And there's a Green Turtle there, and it's near where my dad lives. I think, as I mentioned that before. So it's a nice little area to walk around in and do some stuff. Well, today, 5 people were injured in a knife attack at the local liquor store there. Apparently, it was a guy who was asking for money in the store, and when people weren't giving it to him, he pulled out a box cutter and started stabbing people. Policemen came, and they shot him to death. But still, it's kind of a scary thing to happen in Hunt Valley, because I was thinking I needed to get to Yankee Candle sometime this weekend, because I need to get more plugins for our plug-in things that help makes the house smell good. So I haven't had a chance to go there. So I'm kind of glad I didn't get over there today, because I might have been involved in that whole scenario. I mean, I wasn't going to be going to the liquor store, but I would still be involved with the police cordoning stuff off and, telling us we had to go one way or another. So that's kind of a scary story. Tom Brady's popularity is tied to the rise in white people rage and white supremacy. I don't know how much that's true. Uh, Tom Brady is a noted Republican who has backed Trump and George W. Bush, and has spoken out a little bit. You don't really hear much about his politics. I don't like him as a person in general for other reasons that I've mentioned on the show numerous times, which I'm not going to get into in this place. But this is a new study showing that once he started getting more popular, he became more popular with, white people and stuff like that. So, white rage and white supremacy grew because of his popularity. I don't know how true that is, but I thought I'd mention it. And also, Brady and the Patriots go to Buffalo for probably one of the best football games this week. Is Buffalo Patriots, because both of them are 3-0. So one of those teams is going to be 4-0, one's going to be 3-1. Most people are thinking that the Patriots are going to be 4-0 and the Buffalo Bills are going to be 3-1, but Buffalo's playing pretty good football and they're at home, I believe. Now they have this weird tradition when Tom Brady and the Patriots come to Buffalo, is that people throw sex toys onto the field. I guess I don't know, for some reason I think it's an insult to Brady or whatever, but officials now are afraid that someone's going to get hurt by the flying sex toy. They're looking at, either Brady or the Bills quarterback Josh Allen or any players could get hurt if someone flings a dildo or something and hits them on the top of the head. It could hurt them and knock them out. So the officials are going to try to, I guess, crack down on sex toys. I mean, it's just kind of funny because if you want to bring a dildo into the stadium, all you got to do is you got to wear long pants and you slide it down your pants. It looks like you got a big cock, and and no one can really say, I gotta check you, I gotta frisk you, and they frisk you. They feel that they're like, okay, is that your cock or is that a sex toy? I don't know. But that's gonna be a big game on Sunday. The Ravens-Browns game is going to be a big game because of the implications of the AFC North. Because right now the Ravens are 2-1. They got beat by the Chiefs last Sunday. The Browns are 1-2. They're not. They are the only other team in the AFC North that has a win. The Bengals and Steelers, who play each other on, it's going to be a fascinating Monday Night Football game, are both 0-3. So one of them is going to be 1-3, one's going to be 0-4. So here's hoping that the Steelers are 0-4 and the Bengals are 1-3. That's what we're hoping for anyway. And we're hoping tomorrow that the Ravens are going to be 3-1 and the Browns are going to be 1-3, because that would cement the Ravens as being the favorite right now. And then they go and they have to play Pittsburgh, and then they come back to Baltimore to play the Bengals. So if we can win those 3 games, that'll put us up 5-1 in the division with a 3-0 record in our division, and all our division people would have losses. I mean, they would all have really bad losing records, and it would be really, really hard for them to come back. Could they? Absolutely, they could come back. So we'll see. So those are going to be probably the 2 best games this week, I think. That Bills-Patriots game and the Ravens and Browns, which I'll be watching tomorrow. Amazon is selling a bracelet that shocks you for spending too much money or eating fast food, which I don't understand is how are they going to know? I mean, how they know you're going to be spending too much money, how they know you're eating fast food. The only way I can think about it is you're going to have to program it so that it will shock you. So you could say, all right, I'm going to go out and shock me if I spend more than $200. And you spend $200 on one, you spend $201, you get shocked. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a big fan of that, but hey, whatever. All right. Now, the first trailer we're going to talk about today is The Irishman. The Irishman's second trailer came out. The Irishman played at a New York Film Festival this weekend or this week, got rave reviews, and the people who have reviewed it in their various onlines or newspapers or whatever, has a 100% Rotten Tomatoes score right now, which is really unusual. There's really not a lot of movies out there that have a 100% Rotten Tomatoes average. Now, that could obviously change once the movie comes out more. It is going to be coming to Netflix on Thanksgiving Day, November 27th. So I'll be watching it not on Thanksgiving, but maybe Thanksgiving weekend, since I have a 4-day weekend. It's a 3.5 hour movie. And it's Martin Scorsese reteaming with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and Joe Pesci are going to be the main actors in it, but they've got some other really good cast members in it as well. So it's a good cast, and it's basically going to follow the rise of a guy named Frank who gets ensconced with mob and politics, and Jimmy Hoffa. Al Pacino plays Jimmy Hoffa, so they're obviously going to talk about Jimmy Hoffa's death. So they'll probably cover that as well. But I've never been a huge mob movie fan. Obviously, Godfather, Godfather 2 are awesome, but I've never been a big fan of Goodfellas, and none of the other really ones that have come out over the years, Casino and other stuff like that, I've never really found an interest in too much. But I watched the first trailer for this, and it was kind of interesting. It was just really basically De Niro on the phone with Pacino having a conversation while different little bits and pieces popped up from the stuff that's going to be going on in the movie. This shows a bit more of what the story is going to be about, and it looks absolutely amazing. I like how it looks. I'm really excited for it, and I really think I will probably watch it probably sometime during Thanksgiving weekend, as long as we're not doing anything too crazy. It won't be Thanksgiving, obviously, because that's time to be spent with friends and football, family and football, I should say. Black Friday might be a good choice also. And, who knows, maybe we can start doing Christmas at that time also. We usually do our Christmas decorations around that time as well. So we'll see about that. But I have a 4-day weekend, so I can watch it on a Saturday, maybe Saturday night, whatever, and see that. So we'll see. But definitely worthwhile. Definitely excited for it, and I can't wait to see it. So the last bit on this page. So this book came out. I've talked about this book before. This book came out on Tuesday. I ordered it on Amazon. So I was sick on Tuesday. So after watching a couple movies on Tuesday, I said, okay, I'm not going to watch any more. I'm just going to maybe just read a little bit, and then we'll see if I decide to go to sleep, whatever. And I started reading this book, and I couldn't put it down. So it came out on Tuesday. I ordered it from Amazon a couple days before, so it actually came on Tuesday. Started reading on Tuesday. I finished it on Wednesday. It's a book I've talked about before, wanting to read, and I did. It's Demi Moore's autobiography, Inside Out, detailing her whole life from the early days of her growing up in Roswell, New Mexico, the way her family dynamic was, which was not very good. She revealed that she was raped when she was 15 years old. And the worst part of that is there's a possibility that her mother got paid by the guy so that he could have access to Demi to rape her, because the mother and the father were obsessed with money and stuff like that. They moved like 20, 30 different times. And Demi Moore also got married at a really, really young age to a musician. That's where she got her last name, Moore. And then it then starts going into her career. And then it starts talking about her marriage to Bruce Willis and the birth of her children, and also that with that, and how that ended, and then how she started a relationship with Ashton Kutcher, and then how that ended, and then how her life started going really badly into the toilet, so bad that the reason why she decided she wanted to write this book, because there was a low point in her life where her children, who were her life, all three of them were not talking to her. Bruce Willis, who she was her first husband, obviously, and she's been extraordinarily friendly with even after their divorce, stuff like that. So much so, as one of the anecdotes is that they decided to move to Idaho to get away from the spotlight of Hollywood and Justin Joseph, and they loved it so much they bought a huge piece of property in Idaho, and they raised the girls there, and that was like their oasis away from stuff. But when they got divorced, Bruce still wanted to obviously be a father to the daughters, didn't want to just leave, and Idaho to California is still kind of a rough commute. It's not as bad as, say, New York to California, but still you don't want to keep doing that all the time. So there was a property that opened up across the street from their property, which Bruce Willis bought. So now they had basically two properties right across the street from each other, basically taking over a huge amount of land, and that way the kids could always be with their parents. It was absolutely perfect way of doing things. She's had a really, really rough life. It really, really comes out in this. But it's a wonderful story. It's well written. It's a lot of autobiographies I've been reading lately have been all over the place. The people who are writing them, which is fine. This is their story they want to tell. It's their life, and it's not done chronologically. They jump over about certain themes, stuff like that. Demi did it chronologically for the most part. She says, this is what happened when I was a kid. This is what happened when I was an adolescent. This is what happened when I got started in the business. This is what happened when I met Bruce. This is what happened with my first kid, my second kid, third kid. This is what happened when me and Bruce broke up and reasons why we did that. Ashton Kutcher comes in the picture. That happens, how that broke up, and then how her life is now. And we get some little behind the scenes stuff. Not a lot, but some behind the scenes stuff about some of the stuff she's done. But what I love most about this, which puts this book up to star status for me, is Demi's last page. She went through the ringer. And as I said, her lowest point was when nobody was talking to her and she felt like she had no friends and felt like her life was over. But she pulled herself, as they said in Twin Peaks, pulled herself out of the shit and got better. And eventually, once she started writing this book, she was able to reach out to the kids, to Bruce, and was able to reconcile with all of them. And they have now become back to the way they were. Now, obviously, Demi's kids are now older, so it's not going to be like, hey, we're going to be hanging out with you all the time now. We still have our own lives and stuff like that. But Demi didn't care. She just wanted to be in their lives because of the scenario she had with her parents. And she didn't want to have that situation happen with her kids. And she didn't want to be abandoned or alone. But during this rising herself out of shit, she realized that she can start focusing more on herself because she's been focusing so much on her kids and so much on her marriages to Bruce and Ashton that she sort of neglected herself. And this is what sort of made her whole. And that's what this whole book is about. But I have to read this last bit. From this point on. Sometimes, and this is by Demi Moore, this is Demi Moore's words. Sometimes in winter, it feels like you are inside a snow globe at our house in Haley, Idaho. The backside of the house is mostly glass, facing the trees that lead to the river, with the snow-covered mountains rising up behind them. The big flakes fall fast and white, blanketing the natural world, making everything look different, beautiful, peaceful, changed. Everyone scattered for New Year's Eve, and I stayed there at the house by myself. There was a full moon in the sky that night, and I felt like a fool person looking up at it. Fool as in F-U-L, like she was not a fool, like, I'm an idiot. No, a fool as in fool, F-U-L-L, person looking up at it. I didn't need to jet off to a party. I didn't need a date. I felt I had everything I needed. I belong here, in myself, in this house, on this planet. I am in my mid-50s now. I've outlived both of my parents. I know that what I walked through was a lot, especially coming from where I came from. The truth is, the only way out is in. But just that description of her property in Idaho, the glass window, it just, as soon as she wrote it, and it was so visually stunning, it made me picture it, sitting with a glass of wine, champagne, whatever, or even just seltzer or coffee or tea, whatever, in a bathrobe or whatever, nightgown, lights all off in the house, all by herself, looking out the back wall, which is all glass, and the mountains in the background, the river right here, the trees, and the snow falling down, blanketing the perfect ground. It gives me chills because that's a lot of like what I feel would be a perfect scenario for myself. So thank you, Demi. That is a wonderful thing. Read this book, man. It's quick. As I said, I read it within basically 24 hours. I read it in 24 hours. It's only 200 some pages, but you get a lot of information. It's 256, I think is what it was. You get a lot of information about Demi and her hard life, and it explains a lot about her because you might be one of those people that thought that she seemed to be a cold-ass bitch in the 90s, but that was a lot, I believe, was maybe partially Demi, and she gets in that a little bit. She's like, it could have been me a little bit, the way I presented myself. But at the same time, it had a lot to do with the way the paparazzi was, and people viewed her as being one of the highest paid women actors of their time. So definitely pick it up. It's available everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target probably has it. Walmart does. Demi Moore, Inside Out. I highly recommend it for everybody who likes entertainment, who enjoyed any of Demi Moore's movies. She talks a lot about Ghost. She talks a lot about G.I. Jane, which is a movie that she's extraordinarily proud of, and it killed her how it did not do as well as she expected. So definitely worth a read, and that I'm going to keep reading that paragraph all the time because it gives me chills just thinking about, because I can totally visually picture exactly what she's looking at, and it is my happy place as well. Would be a place I would love to be sometime down the line. Going from a gorgeous description of an Idaho winter to a Disneyland guest who is tripping on acid, falls into a lake, ends up naked outside the park. Just another great headline that you just go, what the hell? So yeah, that says it all, really. So someone tripping on acid falls into a lake and then wakes up completely naked outside of the place. So obviously either what happened was they fell in the lake, someone grabbed them, pulled them out, but because they were completely drenched, they decided to just strip their clothes off and throw them out, because we can't have that here at Disneyland. Speaking of snow, and the Demi Moore thing right here in Idaho, it's September 28th. Now, yes, some of the higher elevated places, maybe even that place in Idaho, might start to be getting cold and chilly, might even get a little bit of snow, maybe, but up in the mountains, not really down low on the ground. Well, guess what? If you want to call it climate change, you can call it climate change if you want, or just a weird thing, because that's what climate change does, just creates these weird weather systems. A massive snowstorm hits Montana. Now, again, you think, okay, it's Montana, it's a higher elevation, so yeah, it's going to get snow. But we're talking, let me see if I can find that picture on Facebook. We're talking like blizzard condition snow. Let's see if I can find a good picture of it. And that's not the only place. I have a friend that I knew from college named Pat, who lived in, who I went to college with. He lives in Seattle. He posted a winter storm warning for his area for yesterday, and they got hit with some big snow up in the Washington. He lives up in Washington State, the Washington State area, which Seattle very rarely gets a lot of snow. And the fact that they got this snowfall here, of course, it's not going to show. Oh, there it is. This is from Montana. See if I can get. I can't really see it too well. But anyway, it's a picture of a snow plow plowing massive amounts of snow. So, okay, Gary. Did Gary read? First, let me see. Watch it now. I really like it so far. Okay, good. So that was not too long ago. So good. Hopefully he'll like yesterday. So it's snowing in Montana. It's snowing in Washington State. Heavy snow, not just little light, fluffy, stupid snow. Meanwhile, here in Maryland on Wednesday, it's going to be 94 degrees. And that's October 1st. No, 2nd. Yes, October 2nd. And then it's going to go to 79 degrees the next day, and the lows are going to drop to the 40s. It's going to be 66 on Friday in Saturday area. So it's going to drop 30 degrees over a span of 24 to 48 hours. There's something going on with the weather, and we got to get this fixed. We got to stop this. Guy rushes into war zone to save stranded cats. You know, that's a lot of people don't forget about that stuff. Yes, we want to make sure that everybody, people, children, old people, men, women, whatever, that they get out of the war zone as well. But you also got to remember your pets, because the one thing that frustrates me the most is the fact that people seem to tend to forget that even though there are pets and our loved ones and we love our pets and stuff like that, that they are living, breathing creatures with feelings and stuff like that. And they're just as scared as we are, and they don't know what's going on either. And they get angry and happy and sad and scared and stuff like that. So the fact this guy rushed into a war zone to save stranded cats is wonderful for this guy, and I applaud him for that. So here's a cheers for you. A raccoon family crashes a couple's wedding photo shoot. I talked last week or 2 weeks ago about a deer that came in and crashed a wedding shoot. Well, this one was a family of raccoons that crashed it. So they know what's going on. So if you decide that you want to get your pictures taken outside for your wedding, just watch out your location, because you might have an animal come on your hand, and you don't want to have a bear show up in your wedding pictures. I mean, since we're on the topic of bears, there's videotape of two grizzly bears, brawling in the middle of a road as a wolf casually observes from afar. So the fact is, there's two grizzly bears obviously fighting to see who is going to be the dominant bear in that area. So in the middle of one of these country mountain roads, where not a lot of cars are going to come down anyway, but you still need them because there are still going to be cars that come down them. And these two grizzly bears are fighting each other. And the video shows the two grizzly bears fighting each other. And then right there in the background is a wolf just going, whoa, this is cool. I'm going to stay back here so they don't see me, but I'm going to watch this stuff. I'm going to bet on that guy right there. So, good job. Did I mark that off? I did. Good. It's good. Let's talk some Halloween stuff, particularly jack-o'-lanterns. Everybody knows about the jack-o'-lanterns. They're out in force now. You can go to your grocery store and get jack-o'-lanterns. You can go to local farms nowadays. They're going to have their Halloween fall festival sort of stuff happening over the next few weeks. Get as many pumpkins as you want. Some people carve them up, put candles in them, make weird faces on them. Some make intricate, cool designs using special knives and, stencils to create, superhero pictures or animal pictures or whatever. And some people, like ourselves, because we've never really wanted to carve a pumpkin, we just buy our pumpkins and we put it out on our stoop. No, it's fine. But here are two pumpkin stories that I want to tell you about. First one is a pumpkin smoke bomb. People have been, and this is actually kind of cool. So people who carve their pumpkins, instead of putting a candle in it to let it light up in the night, people have been putting like smoke bombs or whatever into it so that the smoke drifts out through the eyes and the mouth hole. So sort of like a sort of scary sort of kind of design type of thing to look at. So it could freak people out to say, oh my God, that candle is smoking. And there's lots of smoke coming out. It's like, oh, it could be ghosts or whatever. So that's kind of cool. Then there's a galaxy jack-o'-lantern, which are multicolored pumpkins, because there are ones like that out there, that instead of carving a face into or design or whatever, have carved constellations into them, like the Big Dipper, Orion, stuff like that. And then I guess you put the candle in there and you light up the constellations. That's kind of a cool thing as well. A parade in the Netherlands celebrates the life of Vincent van Gogh with a giant float made entirely of flowers. Just kind of a neat thing I wanted to bring up. It's kind of cool that you can, and people are able to create these artistic things with different things. Like I talked last week about someone who built a cathedral or whatever out of banned books. Speaking of books, not banned books, but books, Raina Telgemeier is someone I've talked about before. One of the books that I reviewed on this show before was a book called Ghosts, and it is a graphic novel for all ages for the most part about a young girl who has cystic fibrosis, who has to move from, her family has to move from Southern California to Northern because she's not getting better, where it's a lot cooler and dry and damper and stuff like that. And it's through the eyes really of her older sister, who doesn't want to move away from her friends and goes to a town where she doesn't know anybody. It's a small little town where the sun only rises or only appears like 75 days of the year. The rest of the time it's overcast, rainy, cold, breezy, stuff like that. And when she gets to town, she discovers that the town is obsessed with ghosts. And I'm not going to tell you more because I don't want to spoil it, but it's fantastic. If you ever get a chance, go to a Barnes & Noble, or go to Amazon, order Inside Out and order Raina Telgemeier's Ghosts, and also you'll enjoy that as well. That's my personal favorite. But Raina Telgemeier's also won Eisner Awards and other book awards, Newbery Award. I think she might have won one time for her autobiographical graphic novels that she's written. Also, she's written 3 autobiographical novels and 2 novels, graphic novels based on her own original ideas. The 3 autobiographical ones are Smile, Sisters, and Guts. Guts is the newest one. That's what I'm going to talk about in a second. The other ones besides Ghosts is Drama, about a drama club stage crew, and that was a good one also because I'm a drama club person as well. But her first book was Smile, which was her retelling of when she was a teenager, how she broke her front teeth and how they had to get repaired, and her life through high school. She lives in San Francisco, so she lived through the San Francisco earthquake out there, stuff like that. Sisters is about her strained relationship with her younger sister. And Guts, which is the newest book that just came out 2 weeks ago, it's her first book in years. Drama was her last one. That was like 3 or 4 years ago, so it's her first book in a while. Guts is about her anxiety and stomach issues when she was younger in elementary school and stuff like that, middle school, just beginning middle school. And then Sisters and Smile takes place in high school. So, in the tail end of middle school and high school. So then, to show how, and these are all graphic novels, so they're drawn, but they are really good stories, and I highly recommend all of them. Ghost is my personal favorite, as I said. And as I said, pick that up. Pick up Demi's Inside Out this week from Amazon, or go to Barnes & Noble or any bookstore. They'll probably have them there too. Pick those up and read them. If you like them, go grab the rest of Raina's stuff, because Guts is one of the first books to open at #1 on every bestseller list. Not just graphic novels, not just kids stuff, but like the regular book list and other lists all across the world. Guts has opened at #1 all this week, and she well deserves it because they are very well written, very well drawn, entertaining stories. College football referee is hospitalized after being shot with a cannon during a game. Now, during college football, a lot of that emphasis comes upon, mascots, stuff like that, running out on the field and doing stuff. And some cases they have cannons, and apparently they must shoot something real because this referee got hospitalized after getting shot by one of these cannons. So kind of tough, kind of hard being a ref these days. Fremont Police Department, which has a Tesla as their police vehicle, runs out of battery charge during a pursuit. Now that's kind of funny, but not. I mean, at the same time, it ran out of the battery power, so the car wasn't running anymore, and you're in the middle of a car pursuit, which means maybe it wasn't a best idea to get a Tesla, but it's probably better in the long run. This is just one scenario that happened, but it's still kind of an interesting story that happened this week, and I thought I'd drop it in there. J-Lo and Shakira will be your Super Bowl halftime show this year. It's going to be in Miami, so obviously that makes sense for them to be there. And everybody's like, please let there be another wardrobe malfunction, you sleazy bastards, with these two up there. So we'll see what happens. A life-size Spider-Man statue in Wisconsin has been vandalized. That's no good. You don't vandalize Spider-Man, man, or I'm going to vandalize your face. I hate your face. A drummer gets smashed by a cross in the middle of a worship sermon. Some churches, a lot of churches, utilize, choruses or pipe organs. Some have a modern mass flair to it where they have like a folk group or other type of musicians to come in there and add the ancillary music for the church service. In this case, a drummer got hit by one of the crosses that fell on him during one of these worship services. So they're fine, but still kind of interesting to think about. Gourmet Kit Kats are now available, but only in the UK and only until Christmas. They're expensive and they come in really bizarre flavors. But if you're a Kit Kat fan, definitely go to the UK and pick one up and see if you have different ones. I don't have a list of what the flavors are. I read them real quick, but I was kind of in a hurry to get my stuff written up. I didn't write any of them down, but they're kind of some weird sounding flavored ones. So whatever. Oh, an Ohio inmate catches weed out of the sky. Everyone's like, how did that happen? Well, apparently someone he was able to get news from someone to the outside that they needed weed to sell in the jail so they can make some extra money on the side. So he goes out into the courtyard, I guess, for his regular exercise. And the person that he was talking with sent a drone over the jail and dropped the weed into his hands. So an inventive way of doing it. I'm sure eventually the police probably confiscated it. You hope they would anyway. A mysterious mineral from Earth's mantle has been discovered embedded in South African diamonds. So I guess that just really means that, this diamond, depending where it was found, I mean, either the mantle used to be higher and it's been shrinking, and this sort of mineral made its way into the diamond. I don't know exactly what sort of it. I thought that was kind of an interesting one. A sleeping octopus changes color when it's dreaming. They had a video of at an aquarium or something watching a octopus, and while he was dreaming, he was changing colors. So that's kind of interesting. I wish I would change color if I was dreaming. That'd be kind of cool. All done my drinky, an hour in. We're talking about Delaware. A Delaware school district is sorry about using Roseanne Barr's national anthem rendition from back in the early 90s, that they used it before a game, a match or something like that at one of the high school games, like that. They wanted to play the national anthem instead of having someone do it themselves. They, I guess, just found, hey, here's a national anthem thing, and didn't see what it was put in. It was Roseanne Barr's absolutely grotesque version of the national anthem. So that's kind of funny. Target is selling cardboard haunted mansions for cats, it's a cardboard sort of house type of thing that the cat can go into, and it's decorated like the haunted mansion. So for Halloween, the kitties can hide inside their own haunted mansion. I think that's kind of cool. Sid Haig, who is a horror icon, died this week also. I'm not a big horror fan, but the only way I know him is I think he was the clown face sort of character from Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, and he might have appeared in some other stuff as well, but he has a very visual, his face is like blue and stuff like that, and he has a very visual quality to him. So he passed away, so that's kind of sad. Jason Bateman is in talks to direct and star in a Clue remake with Ryan Reynolds. Now, I think I also went off on remakes last week when they were discussing the Princess Bride remake. I think a Clue remake is a bad idea because the original movie, again, much like the Princess Bride, is original and brilliant and should be watched on its own and should not be remade for any reason. But the fact is, when you get Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds interested in a project, that becomes sort of a, let's think about that and we'll see what happens. And so it's kind of intriguing now. I just wish it wasn't Clue, because there is a absolutely fine Clue movie for everybody out there to watch. You just got to get over your fear of watching movies that were released before you were born, you young millennial type people. Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill will be appearing together again in Jurassic World 3. They were in the original Jurassic Park movie, and the three of them will be returning to their same roles and appearing in the Jurassic World third movie, which is going to be out within the next year or so, which is going to end the Jurassic World trilogy with Chris Pratt and Ron Howard's daughter. I can't think of her name right now. Samuel L. Jackson will become the first celebrity to get a voice pack for Alexa, which means I guess it's something that you'll be able to start to download now for your Alexa, so that Alexa will start sounding like Samuel L. Jackson. So you can either say, Alexa, find me a grocery store, and it'll be Samuel L. Jackson saying, find it yourself, fool. That's Mr. T, but anyway. Find yourself, mother effer. Or, did I break your concentration or whatever? So I don't know. It's like that. So that could be interesting and fun, particularly if your Alexa starts sounding like Samuel L. Jackson. Gender neutral Barbie, blah, blah, blah. Gender neutral Barbie is a thing. Barbie is always seems to be at the forefront of things now. You always thought, they would never be the forefront of stuff, but they're the ones who have started getting, stay at home Ken and, feeling the pulse of the public and making dolls that anybody can enjoy right now. So now there's gender neutral dolls for those who gender identity they don't really know right now, so they can have a Barbie doll that's not a male or female. Florida officer, I should say, has been fired after arresting 2 6-year-olds for having a tantrum. Only in Florida. They arrested 2 6-year-olds for throwing a tantrum. I don't know what else to say. That's also like I'm really, really tired. I got a ways to go, though, so bear with me here. Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, there is another version of A Christmas Carol coming. It's going to be a musical version that's going to star Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. I am I'm a Christmas Carol alumnus. I played Bob Cratchit in our high school production of A Christmas Carol. So I am in the unique position of actually being in a Christmas Carol story, play, movie, whatever. So I have the experience with that. That being said, that's one of the most filmed stories of all time. And I guess, again, if you're going to do a musical, because they did one already called Scrooge, and it's a musical version. If you're going to do a new musical version, but this time have Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds in it, I don't know if it's going to be more of a goofy Christmas Carol with goofy songs, and it's just going to be Christmas Carol in general, or what they're going to do. So again, it's one of these things we're just going to have to wait and see what they're going to do, and we'll see how they do it. But it's in the works right now, Christmas Carol musical with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. Next investigation of trailers shows another one that's going to be like on Netflix. This one is not as interesting to me as Irishman, but it's intriguing just to see the actor involved. Adam Sandler returns to dramatic roots, which he hasn't done in a while, and the couple of dramatic roles he has done have always been critically acclaimed. So he can act dramatically. His bread and butter is with comedy, and he knows it. That's why he keeps doing them. But I guess he just found this story too compelling, and so they have a trailer about it. It's something to do with basketball point spreads, and he's a jeweler who's laundering money for like the mafia or something like that. So it's going to be a rough and tumble, violent sort of film, but it's been getting Adam Sandler's been getting a lot of buzz for his role, and hopefully, a lot of people now are saying, now wouldn't it be kind of cool if when the Academy Awards come out and they nominate for Best Actors, that Eddie Murphy for My Name is Dolomite and also Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems both get nominated, so that you have 2 people known for comedy getting nominated for Academy Awards. And a lot of people think that'd be kind of cool. And it would be, I think. It is now time for conspiracy theory time. Dun, dun, dun. My new favorite conspiracy theory of the week, I got 2 of them, but this is my favorite one, is Morgan Freeman Jimi Hendrix. Now, the person who wrote this theory believes that Hendrix died, I guess, at 69, maybe 70, 71, something like that. He died, and then right after, a few years right after, a actor by the name of Morgan Freeman, who was at that time was not a young buck, he was kind of old, all of a sudden pops up, and no one knew where he came from, and he's a great actor. And Morgan Freeman is still working today. And they've looked at pictures of them side by side, Jimmy and Morgan Freeman, and they have a similarity. And as I said, Jimmy died, and all of a sudden, this actor by the name of Morgan Freeman starts working the rounds and becomes famous very soon after Jimi Hendrix's death. And he just happens to look a little like Jimi Hendrix. But obviously, it's probably not true, because if you listen to the Jimi Hendrix songs, he sounds nothing like Morgan Freeman. So just making an observation, but it's still one of my favorite conspiracy theories out there right now. So spread that all you want if you want. In the end, it's probably not true, but still kind of cool. The other one is more along the lines of what Reddit does. Reddit just takes pop culture stuff and mixes it together and decides, hey, what if, and uses bits and pieces of things here. And I'm not going to go into all the details about this. You got to read it yourself. I posted it on my page, Dylan A. Lag on Facebook. Just look for it. Pennywise the dancing clown, and Mary Poppins are the same species. And they look at the fact that it takes 30 years between appearances. So Mary Poppins appeared in the 1960s, I guess, which I guess would make it more 50 years. But they're not going to get it. But they have long periods of time of disappearances where they don't make any appearances, where the grown-ups don't remember that dealt with them when they were younger, don't remember them. And they both deal with kids and take kids away, not letting their parents know what they're doing with them. And there are some other things as well that they both like to dance, stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of little things here, and it's kind of intriguing and it's funny. But again, we know it's not really true, but still it's kind of a silly, and Reddit's a fantastic place to find these sort of theories and stuff like that. All right, that's all we got left here, people. So let's get busy. Plastic Army women are set to hit stores after a 6-year-old girl sends an inspiring letter to the toy company, and that's true. It's past time, because there are women soldiers out there, and it is about time, more than about time, to have Plastic Army women as well. And also, I think you need to have G.I. Joe get redone with a few more women characters as well. That's just me personally. Congress votes to issue a coin for Teacher in Space Kristen McAuliffe. That always was one of those you'll never forget where you are when that happened. Kristen McAuliffe was a high school teacher from New Hampshire, I believe. And there was a long casting process, but NASA wanted to have the first ever real teacher in outer space. Not an astronaut, whatever, just a normal civilian, be their first person out of space. So after a worldwide search, Kristen McAuliffe was picked to be that person. She went down and did all the training with the members of her team. And she boarded the Challenger space shuttle on January 28th, 1986. And about 35 seconds into liftoff, the space shuttle burst into flames and killed everyone on board. And that put a halt to NASA's space program for years and put us backwards, which is why we have not gone back to the moon since then, nor have we sent anybody to Mars since then either. If we wouldn't have had that, or the other, Columbia, I think was the other one, disaster around 2002 or 3, whatever that was, we'd probably be a lot further along in our space exploration than we were. A couple of Frozen things. Frozen-inspired bra changes colors when you bump boobs with a friend. So, you and a female friend are dancing around in your bra and panties, and you have that special bra on, and you boop, your boobs, they change color. Not your boobs, the bra changes color. That's kind of cool. And on top of that, and they're Frozen inspired because the colors are like the colors of the Frozen, the light blue sort of thing of the movie Frozen. The Frozen sequel will be coming out on November 22nd. They released another trailer for Frozen 2, exploring it a bit more. Again, this movie looks entirely different than the movie that everybody seems to hate because of the Let It Go song. This seems more action oriented and fantasy oriented, and it's about a magical kingdom, rather not magical, a mystery garden from the past. The fact that Elsa's powers may actually be magic and not like mutant, like everybody is always going on and about. But the trailer's fantastic, and check it out for yourself. Same with The Irishman, same with Uncut Gems. Go onto YouTube, just type in the search engine for those, and just look at those trailers and enjoy them. Frozen 2 now absolutely looks like a great Disney film to check out, and I think I'm kind of excited about that. I think I want to kind of check it out for myself. Anyway, my kids might not be interested in it, but I probably will go see it anyway. Tens of thousands of blackbirds soared through the city of Houston one night. Now, it wasn't anything in advance of the hurricane that hit them earlier, but it was just a weird, bizarre, sun setting. People are on the highway driving into Houston, and all of a sudden these massive amount of blackbirds are just circling in the sky and flying overhead. It's just one of these weird migrational things. Maybe it's something to do with that. A migration thing, climate change, whatever you want to think, but it was kind of an interesting sort of thing. Studies show that cats domesticated themselves, were not domesticated by humans. They decided, you know what? I'm tired of trying to survive on my own. Let's take advantage of these silly humans to feed me and take care of me. And to be honest, that makes absolutely perfect sense, because cats nowadays, they could care less. I mean, they care. I mean, my cat loves to curl up in my lap, and she lets me kiss and hug her, and she likes to play, and she curls up on my wife as well, and she's very good around the kids, stuff like that. So she likes being part of a family, but it's on their rules. So they decided, you know what, we don't need to live on their own. We can have someone take care of us for us. So they went in and they domesticated themselves. It makes absolute perfect sense to me. Louisiana man drowns after proposing to his girlfriend underwater. Now, that's a sad story, because he wanted to do a memorable engagement proposal and ends up dying and not actually being able to get married. It's great. You come up with these amazing ways of proposing to people, but you also got to be more safe about stuff. That's why I proposed to my wife at a parade. We were watching the parade, and I did it, and there's really no harm, no foul, no damage, no possibility of anything happening. So there's that. So that's a sad story. So rest in peace on that. They discovered a shape-shifting jellyfish, which is kind of interesting. I guess it makes sense. Jellyfish are sort of malleable, so they should be able to turn into different shapes as well. Amtrak is going to launch a nonstop service between New York City and Washington. That's actually a pretty good idea. You won't have to stop anywhere. It's going to be a straight shot. You can go faster, and it shouldn't take as long, since you won't be stopping and getting more people and stuff like that. It's going to go, once you get on Washington, D.C., we ain't stopping until we get to New York. So if you work in New York, or commute or whatever, it's not the maglev, which would take only about 45 minutes to get to New York from Washington, but it's only going to take maybe 2 hours instead of maybe 3 hours to get to New York. It's not even that long, because it takes 3 hours to drive there. Technically 4 hours if you want to be serious about it. But that's still good for those who want to go to New York and decide they'd rather go by train and not drive, which is me, because I hate driving up there. It's a disaster. Camel sits on a Florida woman who bites its testicles off to get it to move, and it did. So camel sits on a woman. The woman's like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh, there's testicles. And the camel's like, oh God, what did you just do, woman? And she gets up and runs away. Crazy story. And of course, it had to be a Florida woman. So this is Florida related also, but it's not crazy. There's a Christmas themed bar in Florida, and that looks really, really cool. They showed the interior of it. It looks really, really neat. Lots of Christmas lights, decorations, Christmas cocktails, stuff like that. It looks pretty cool. Scientists claim aliens are keeping us in a zoo, which might be why the stuff's happening that it is. But they believe that aliens have found us and have placed us on this planet, and the planet is a zoo and not really a way for us to escape. I'm not sure if I actually believe that, but it may explain a lot of things. Russell Wilson, quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, in an interview mentioned that he had severe diarrhea on the day of one of his biggest games of his career. And that's a little bit too TMI there, Russell. But it always seems funny that quarterbacks have these amazing days, or even football players for that matter, who have these amazing games and days after tragedy or during tragedy or issues. Like a good example is Brett Favre, whose father died on a Saturday, and he still came out on Sunday night play Sunday Night Football after his dad had only been dead for like 24 hours and had probably one of the best games of his career, and he did it for his dad. Torrey Smith of the Ravens, I believe it was his brother, was killed, and he ended up having a spectacular 182-yard reception day one day, like a few days after the death of his brother. But this isn't like that. This is severe diarrhea, which I've had before, and I'm sure other people have as well. It's not comfortable. Your stomach will put you in knots. And just imagine him, between plays, going to the restroom, evacuating his bowels, and then having to go back out on the field. The pressure, the pain still there, and having to get hit by people and to hold back the farts that would turn out to be diarrhea in your underwear. So sorry to gross you out, but I just found that kind of interesting. An escaped Arctic wolf has been running around rampant in North Carolina. So if you see an Arctic wolf in North Carolina, let somebody know. I think he escaped from a zoo or a circus or something, and they want to try to get him back. Man has the inside of his ears removed in a new body modification thing. It looks absolutely disgusting. He literally let's see if I can take that off. He had this whole part right here removed so that was nothing but empty space. And I'm just like, what? Why would you do something like that? I don't know. Reading my son the Harry Potter series, me and my wife both are. We're on book 5 now. And one of the things that we've always liked about Harry Potter was the butterbeer. I've always wanted to try it. Never tried it. My son wants to try it. My daughter wants to try it, but I've never tried it. But now butterbeer hair is now a thing, which means the color of butterbeer, because butterbeer is supposed to be like this butterscotchy sort of color. So there's a color now you can get your hair done that's sort of like this darker blonde hair that looks like a butterscotch sort of thing, which they're calling butterbeer. So that's kind of cool. Oh, a speeding motorcycle crashes into another motorcycle, and then they get crashed into by another motorcycle. I know that's a chain reaction thing, but it just seems really odd that you have a bam, bam, bam all in a row happening all at the same time, and you don't know each other. So it's just kind of a weird scenario. I thought I dropped it in there. Chicken leg stockings that you can put on your feet that go all the way up to your knees and have a design of a chicken leg on it so you can walk around like you have chicken legs. I guess there are people who would like to do that. I wouldn't know. My friend Gary sent me this story and a few other ones from today, but this one particularly. And as I was going back through my stuff today to get my show prep for today, I couldn't find it. But I kind of remember the story I just couldn't remember the name of the dog. There's a robotic dog-looking creature now that NASA or other people have created and have been able to control very well to explore certain terrains. And they're thinking of launching him to explore Mars, Titan, other places, the moon, and he might be able to do more than a rover can because he'd be able to move on what looked like dog, wolf type feet. You would not get stuck in the sand so much like they do, the rovers do, because of the deep sand on both Titan and on Mars and stuff like that. So that's it. And there's other stuff you could do as well. You could do rescues here on our planet, stuff like that. And Gary brought this up also, and it was the first thing when he showed me the article and I looked at it, the first thing that crossed my mind is it looks a hell of a lot like the robotic dog creature thing that was in the movie Red Planet, which is actually a pretty decent action film with Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore, Carrie-Anne Moss. I can't remember who else is in that. The dude who was dating Julia Roberts for a while was on a TV show as the darker skin. Benjamin Bratt, that's the other one. And then there was one other, I can't think of who else it is. It's like a Bradley Cooper or something like that. I know it's not Bradley Cooper, but someone like him. It was the guy from Felicity, but not Scott Foley. It was the other one. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So it looks good. There's a lot of possible things it can be used for. So it had some successful tests, and it's working out really, really well. Missouri Man. Actually, no, I'll say that for the last story because I'm down to my last two stories. I Know What You Did Last Summer. The original film starred my girl, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and actually the fairly hot in her own right, Jennifer Love Hewitt. We also had the handsome Freddie Prinze Jr. and handsome, oh God, what's his name from Cruel Intentions? Ryan Phillippe. We're in those as well. Well, now they're going to be doing a TV show of I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I guess makes a lot of sense. You know, you start with the kids, you know, hitting the bad guy, and then the whole series will lead to all the stalking and the events that are going to lead to the finale. So we'll see what happens about that. I'm not going to watch it, but anything. And just one that's not on here, but I just saw, I'm not a big fan of The Purge series of movies. The idea of making all crime legal for 24 hours, including murder, is, I guess, an intriguing one, but it always gets you to thinking that after that 24 hours is up, how does the world go back to normal for another year? Knowing full well that there were people who are trying to kill you, or you actually killed somebody, and how you're going to react to that, or a family member, friend, whatever, was killed themselves. And then just the cleanup in general. And also, how are you going to be able to justify that if the bell or alarm or whatever goes off when the time is up for the purge to be over? How if you're being held, you know, by someone who's getting ready to kill you, and then the alarm goes off, they're just going to say, well, we'll just think that you're just another victim of the kill, and they'll kill you even afterwards. It sort of breaks up what the purge is all about. But the main thing was, what would it be like after the purge happened? The day after or the week after it happened? How would it be hard to get people back and get back into your routine, knowing full well that there are people who are trying to kill you, or you saw your neighbors or friends or coworkers trying to kill other people, or they were killed in general on their own? Well, there's a Purge TV show. They did, I think, one season already, and the second season's coming up, I think, in October. And I saw the trailer for that, and that's exactly what they're going to cover in the second season. And I'm like, yes, that's what you do if you want to do a TV show based on the purge. You do one season where you have the purge happen, and then you do a second season with the aftermath. And so that's kind of an intriguing idea. So I'll put that on there, Purge TV show. So I'll check that off. Finally tonight, Missouri man flies to California, sets 13 wildfires, tries to fly back, but got busted and arrested by the police officers. First of all, why would you want to create forest fires unless you're a Trumpite who wants to get back about how California's been treating your God, your Messiah? I don't know. And I don't know if that's the case. He looked like a Trumpite, maggot type of thing. So I don't know. But the fact is, he flew of his own volition to California, deliberately set 13 wildfires, and was trying to escape back, and would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those miserable kids who happened to spy his car at one of the spots where the fire had started. He took note of the license plate and told the police about it. They checked that it was a rental car. They found the rental car, and they picked him up for questioning, and the story comes out. So there's that. So that's the end of that. That's the end of the stories for this week. For 315, 316 will be next week. And we'll be in October, finally. It's about freaking time. And I would have, by this time next week, I will have seen the Joker. So I'm actually going to do that. So I'll give you my Joker review because I actually am going to go see the Joker. I'm going to try to see it on the 4th. If for whatever reason I can't and I don't get to it, I'm also taking off the 7th. I will definitely see it on the 7th. So if I don't see it this weekend, I will send a review of it for 2 episodes away, 317. But so I've got that coming up. But we do have 2 things. Lost, the TV show, one of my favorite TV shows, is 15 years old. The first episode came out this week, 15 years ago. And so that's kind of a big deal. And again, my friend Gary said, "Are you going to mention Abbey Road?" And I was like, I wasn't going to, but I will now. Abbey Road, the final, Let It Be, I actually think was the final album, but the final really big album of the Beatles' career, Abbey Road, came out 50 years ago this week. So happy 50th anniversary about Abbey Road. Let me see what's on the track list of Abbey Road. Abbey Road. There you are. So track list. Come Together, Something, Maxwell Silver Hammer, Oh Darling, Octopus Garden, I Want You, She's So Heavy, Here Comes the Sun, Because, You Never Give Me Your Money, Sun King, Mean Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, I think, Golden Slumbers, Carry the Weight, The End, Her Majesty. So I like Something. I like Come Together. Octopus Garden's pretty interesting. Here Comes the Sun is okay. Because it's pretty good. Sun King's interesting. The rest I don't quite remember that much about. So Abbey Road 50 years ago this week. So ta-da. That's it for that. And then let's just do, because I wanted to name today's episode Fish Amnesty Day, because today is actually Fish Amnesty Day. But then I was like, that sounds really familiar. And I actually did a show, I believe it was probably a year ago, which I called It's Fish Amnesty Day. So I said, dang it, I've already used that. So that's where I came up with the double headline this week. So we have Check Eye Day. Today is Fish Amnesty Day, obviously, but they already have the 29 posted. Family Health and Fitness Day, Fish Amnesty Day, Fish Tank Floor Show Night, Gold Lining Day, International Lace Day, International Rabbit Day, International Right to Know Day, Kiwanis Kids Day, Museum Day, National Drink Beer Day, interesting, National Ghost Hunting Day, National Good Neighbor Day, National Hunting and Fishing Day, National Public Lands Day, National Seat Check Saturday, National Strawberry Cream Pie Day, National Wildlife Ecology Day, READ, Read in America Day, Read a Child a Book You Like Day, Save Your Photos Day, World Rabies Day. That's all today. Yesterday, the 27th, was Ancestor Appreciation Day, German Butterbrat Day, Hug a Vegetarian Day, Love Note Day, Morning Show Host Day, National Bakery Day, National Brave Day, National Chocolate Milk Day, National Corned Beef Hash Day, National Crush a Card Day, National Gay Men's HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Native American Day was September 27th. Save the Koala Day was the 27th. Sport Purple for Platelets Day was the 27th. World Tourism Day. That's just a lot, so I'm just going to see if there's anything else. Nothing interesting about that. Go to Check Eye Day on Twitter and Facebook, and you'll find these. So tomorrow, the 29th, is as I said, the 19th anniversary of my first date with my wife. It's also Broadway Musicals Day. We're going to go see a Broadway musical for our anniversary, but not until February 15th. We're going to go see Wicked. But go out and see a Broadway musical now yourself. Confucius Day, Gold Star Mother's Day, Goose Day, Michaelmas, National 10-Year Grandchild's Birthday Day, National Biscotti Day, National Coffee. National Coffee Day is tomorrow. National Mocha Day, National Poison Blackberries Day, VFW Day, World Deaf Day, World Heart Day, World Rivers Day. So that's all tomorrow. So World Coffee Day is the big one there. So check it out. And that should be it for today. As I said, next week we get into October 2019. I get into Probably going to be one of my best months because I am working 4 days next week. I'm working 4 days a week after that. I'm working 3 days the week after that. So I will not be working another full day of work until October 20th, the week of October 20th. So I got a little bit of time, got some days off coming up so I didn't go on vacation. So going to see a lot of movies. I plan on seeing Jojo Rabbit when it comes out. The Baltimore Comic-Con is coming out October 18th, 19th, and 20th. My wife and daughter are going to the Shenandoah Valley for camping that same weekend. The kids have off on Monday. It's Rosh Hashanah, so happy Rosh Hashanah to all my Jewish friends and viewers and watchers. So they have off on Monday for that. So they have a 4-day week as well. And then I'm taking off the 13th because my father-in-law is going to be, he's going to have an installation into his Knights of Columbus stuff, which is a big deal for him. So I'm actually going to be seeing a bunch of movies. I'll probably see, as I said, Joker next weekend. So I'll give you a review on that. The weekend after that, I'm going to try to see Gemini Man and maybe the Addams Family cartoon. When I have off that 13th, I'll probably see that. The 18th, when I see Jojo Rabbit, maybe The Lighthouse, if I can gird my loins up to do that, or go to the Baltimore Comic-Con. And then, so a couple of movie reviews going to be coming through here. So hopefully next week we'll be able to get you a Joker review and let you know if it's worthwhile to go see it. So on that note, I'm getting ready to say good night. I've been talking now for 1 hour and 36 minutes. My one viewer has been watching the whole time. Thank you again for watching. And peace out. Have a good rest of your weekend. Watch some football tomorrow. It's going to be here in Baltimore. It's going to be 82 degrees and sunny, so that's going to be kind of nice. 76 on Monday, 86 Tuesday, 93. Okay, they dropped it down to 93 on Wednesday, 75 with rain Thursday, 71 with rain on Friday. We need rain, so that's good. 66 on Saturday, 68 on Sunday, and 71 on Monday. So we got some nice weather coming up. October's rolling through here on Tuesday. Wake me up when September ends, which is probably what I should have played this week instead of Tiny Dancer, but you know what? Who cares? September's almost over. Long live October. See you guys in October.